So, you're thinking of playing Deadlock. You've heard bits and pieces over the past year of Valve's not quite new, shiny, third-person MOBA movement nonsense, and maybe it's time to finally dip your board of other games' toes into holy water that is Deadlock. But then you're met with the hero page. There's like a million of these silly-looking bozos, and you've got no idea who you're destined for. Your one trick, your entire personality for the next 3 months. Let's chat. There's a few games I expect people to have played before playing Deadlock. Overwatch, Rivals, Valorant, League of Legends, Dota, commonly, but the character archetypes are shared with a lot of multiplayer games. I'll explicitly compare two characters from these games and their general playstyle. First up, the egoist, the carry, the big dog. I put this one up front because I know there's no chance of you continuing to watch this video if you have to sit through content that's not for you for longer than 30 seconds. RIP my engagement stats and YouTube algo. From Valorant, think Reyna or Jett. Overwatch, Cassidy or Genji. Rivals, someone like Hawkeye. And if you're coming from League, you're the Yasuo picker, you're the Zed picker. In Deadlock, you're gonna feel right at home on Wraith, Haze, Seven, Mirage, and Infernus. All of these characters have potential to take over a game if you're far enough ahead. If you're less of an aimer, you're coming from a MOBA, I'd suggest Seven, as he's a little easier to execute without having 10,000 hours in aim labs. But if you're a tracking god, the others will reward you handsomely. They all have tools that, assuming you're better than your opponent in a 1v1, means that you should come out on top in these fights. Haze builds up damage the more shots he lands, think Ursa. Wraith has incredible, easy to execute lockdown, think Deadlock Valorant, and Mirage just makes your opponents miserable through a triple threat of HP steal, building stacks, and putting them in a tornado. Infernus is a damage over time specialist who rewards those with good aim and positioning with a relatively straightforward kit. Damage amp, dash, and AoE stun. Next up on the list, you're the kind of person who doesn't mind taking a bit of damage. You're an enjoyer of the beefy boys, the top laner, the tank, think Reinhardt, most vanguards in Rivals. You're probably going to enjoy the big blue man that is Abrams, and the tunneling duo that is Mo and Krill. Abrams is a hefty teamfight disruptor that gets up close and personal. Landing a full stun combo with a few haymakers mixed in is so satisfying. If you like to play a bit more of someone weaving in and out, causing trouble, Mo and Krill have a nice movement option built in to get in and out of fights quickly. Both characters have spells which will heal them up and reduce the damage they'll take, allowing them to survive a little bit longer under pressure. Couple more for this category. If you're after a tank with maybe a bit more finesse and potential for flashy plays, think about picking up the serial pest goo man that is Viscous. Playing Viscous well definitely requires a little bit of practice, but if you're able to master him, you'll be a menace on the server. Billy is a melee specialist that wants to swing and swing. Huge potential for survival with the ability to gain max health for every melee he lands, with some good movement and lockdown to make sure you're always in their face. Victor, a stinky, tanky menace who's literally unkillable. Sort of. He's all about riding the fine line, balancing incoming damage with massive amounts of regen. His ult literally respawns him, doing big damage and stunning any enemies nearby, meaning running it down can actually be beneficial for your team. Alrighty, so we've got the ego aimers, the tanks. Next up, I want to talk about the people that enjoy inflicting pain on others. You know who you are. You want to pick the most annoying character in any game you play. You have fun not by necessarily winning games, but by making people mad. Good news, you awful person. You're in luck. Deadlock has a few of these characters that I can guarantee you're going to have fun with. If you enjoy putting someone where they shouldn't be and exploiting them yourself, Bebop is your man. If you'd rather let your teammates exploit them, you've got the options of both Holiday and Paradox in the toolkit. Have a play around with these and see which you prefer. Bebop plays more like a Pudge, a Blitzcrank, a Roadhog. Paradox is kind of similar to Vengeful Spirit, and Holiday is a bit like Batrider. What if you prefer to be a slippery little shit? Pocket is great at dishing out huge chunks of damage and getting away without a scratch. Good pocket players are a nightmare to catch, so if you enjoy living on the edge, this might be the one for you. If you've played Puck, you'll be right at home. Calico also belongs in this elusive category. Mobile, big burst damage, but a little bit tankier and more in your face than Pocket. In a similar vein, if you want to play a character who's literally described as an arsehole in the lore, Lash is your true calling. He's great at gap closing and escaping, and has huge potential for crowd control with both ground strike and death slam. If Haze is like the ego aimer of Deadlock, Lash is like the ego movement character. If you're a fan of hunting down isolated players or have ever had fun playing Dead by Daylight, you sick, evil person, just pick Drifter. He thrives at turning the game into a horror movie for his opponents, punishing poor positioning and snowballing to turn into a server admin. Alright, support players, you've sat through the whole video just like you babysit the brainless carries in your games. It's now your time to shine. Support in this game isn't as strict as a role as it is elsewhere. I've genuinely seen every hero in Deadlock carry a match. If you're in a position to take over from your team, don't feel like you need to force yourself into a full support build path. With that in mind, your big ones are going to be Ivy, Kelvin, Dynamo, and Paige. Ivy is an incredibly mobile and disruptive gargoyle that excels at being a menace in teamfights. Huge AoE area denial and silence, constant healing, and a really potent stun means you're able to control the flow of fights. You're also able to get people in and out of fights really quickly. Just make sure to take advantage of your ult. If you enjoy being the star of the show, Dynamo is the one for you. The character with two of the most impactful spells in the game. You've got a literal team-saving spell in Quantum Entanglement, as well as the massive AoE shutdown that is Singularity. A well-timed Singularity can bring the game back from even the biggest of deficits. Kelvin is your laning stage king. You're always going to win trades with the burst, heal, and damage of Grenade, as well as Arctic Beam punishing anyone trying to get too close to you and your partner. Frozen Shelter is so important for spacing teamfights correctly too. Use it to secure an objective, trap an opponent, or save teammates. Paige is probably the most traditional type support character. Big AoE damage, some shields, and a really cool global stun heal combo. She does a surprising amount of damage too. I also want to give a shout out to Sinclair here. A little harder to execute, but huge burst potential with Bolt and the ability for some big outplays with Assistant Teleport. Rabbit Hex is incredibly oppressive control, and stealing your enemy's spells is the ultimate show of dominance. Play their hero better than they can. If you're a sniper player, someone picking up the AWP or the operator, or maybe perhaps a Lux player, take a look at both Vindicta and Grey Talon. These two specialize in being high up in the air and doing chunky damage from range. Vindicta has a hit scan ultimate that deals more damage to low enemies, and Grey Talon has a Call of Duty Predator missile ult. Give them both a go. What about if you're insane? You like to live on the edge, pushing your characters to the max. You got a few options. We talked about Victor with the tanks, but there's a couple more as well. Shiv loves to ride the line up close, dealing damage through his dash and his bleed, and clearing his self-damage with bloodletting. He can get away with absolute crimes if he's played well. Lady Geist is another one where you're playing at the limits. Your spells do big damage, but they also hurt yourself. Your ultimate will swap health with an enemy, so it means you've got to know just how low you can get without being killed and still have impact. It'll take a bit to learn the boundaries, but a good Geist can absolutely dominate. Yamano is your other limit tester. You've got a grapple that zips you to enemies and big damage when you're up close and personal. Your ult makes you tanky and gives you debuff immunity for a little bit, and it also refreshes your abilities. Masterful Yamato players won't give their enemies a chance to breathe, and they'll be entirely unkillable. Real quick lightning round for some I haven't mentioned so far. So if you're a turret player, mcginnis puts down turrets, heals, and fight isolating walls with a long range, big damage ult. Every single game has a turret character, so you'll know if this is the one for you. Warden is a kinda hybrid tanky damage dealer. His ult heals him for all the damage dealt in a cone AoE in front of him. It's great for baiting people in close or pumping out damage in the middle of a team fight. Flask and Cage are really powerful tools as well to keep people from getting away. Super useful when combined with a crowd controlling teammate. Hope you now have the character for you. Leave a comment below with who you're enjoying. If you found your soulmate, sub to the channel and take a look at the other videos on how to fully understand Deadlock. I'll try and have a guide up for every character, so your support helps me out. Thank you.